Sounded good.
Yep, felt solid.
Greatest drive of the day. What do you think so far? Initial first looks at a dress.
I love it. Best looking 10K by far. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. This is an absolute treat for us, and honestly, trust me, it's going to be a treat for you guys too. We're here today to learn about the brand new Cobra DS-ADAPT. Delighted to be joined by our good friend, fellow Canadian.
Welcome to California, guys.
Thank you. Nice to see you, pal. It's this one's been the most, I don't mind saying it, it's been the most anticipated sort of stop for us of our Carlsbad journey. We do this every year, going down, learn about the new product. And obviously the weeks leading up to coming down, you start getting the whispers, you know, the golf industry's not great at keeping secrets and things get out there and this and that. But you guys have got something coming this year that's going to shake up this whole industry. And I don't say that lightly, and I don't say it just because we're standing here with you. There's movements and changes and designs and things that come along from time to time that shape the future of design. This is one of them.
Yeah, obviously every year we have new products that come out, but not every year we have a brand new adapter that comes out.
Yeah.
And this one's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and obviously the adapter, we're going to dive into that. And really for the first time ever, we're going to do a video on the adapter alone. I mean, I could never have thought that, to be honest, that we would end up doing a content piece on one single adapter. You and I recently done a video that was to help people explain or help them understand the difference between maybe some other companies, single axis loft sleeves, double axis loft sleeves, and maybe one direction you'd want to move. I mean, it just feels that you guys have just unlocked all the secret codes when it comes to the new adapter.
Yeah, once you guys learn about it, like from a fitting mind, once you see it, it's like we've unlocked all these different settings, and you can dial people in now. We have 4 heads and all these different settings, right?
Yeah,
so
I love it. So FUTUREFIT33 is what the adapter's called. You guys will see and hear a lot about that. And as I say, that will live in its own video. Today we're going to focus on the 4 drivers, the brand new drivers. Dark Speed, tell me a little bit from your perspective, you know, how did Cobra feel about Dark Speed, and what did it think about it, and how was it how did it evolve into Adapt?
Yeah, when Dark Speed first launched, some of the first feedback was how it looked. People loved that dark kind of matte look. So we kind of figured, you know, why go away from that? So this is the first year in a while we've actually kind of had that year 2 kind of product. So we're calling it DS-ADAPT or Dark Speed Adapt. Adapt coming from how we've adapted from Dark Speed. Right. Again, it's different enough, but we want to kind of keep that kind of Dark Speed look and feel.
I love that. It's very easy to call something Dark Speed 2, isn't it? You know, it's on, you know, Mark 2, whatever that may be. So 4 heads, like we said, we've kind of retained, you know, a lot of the identity of last year. So we've got LS,
X. So X is still, you know, for the player looking for speed and forgiveness. Last year with Dark Speed, we had the Dark Speed Max. Now we have 2 drivers kind of in that lineup. So we're going to have the DS-ADAPT Max K and now the DS-ADAPT Max D.
Right. Talk to me about the Max K, because obviously within the product world right now and innovation, lots of people are putting efforts and emphasis on high MOI and the ability to create a really stable driver, and you guys have got that now too. Yeah,
so the Max K is our first 10,000 MOI product. You know, this past year, you know, in the industry, a lot of people are starting to talk about MOI forgiveness. You know, our Dark Speed Max last year, it was the #1 seller between our 3 models, mainly because the industry was going more towards forgiveness. Now we've kind of jumped into that realm with the Max K head. And then the Max D head is still truly for that player that really needs that draw bias. It's even more bias than what our Max products were in the past.
Right. A little kind of time out from the coach for a sec. Just, I want you guys to, before you hear this next piece, understand, and some of you will do, but some of you will not understand that 10,000 MOI is a combination of the vertical, lateral, sort of, or the vertical and the toe to heel stability of the driver. You guys have created the most stable driver in the industry from toe to heel. Testing shown that, high-speed camera footage shown that, the twisting and sort of, when you start getting into tenths of degrees, you have the most stable driver in the market, toe to heel, and that's a massive feat.
Yes, in testing, we got to pretty close to the USJ limit, and so at 5,900 MOI points is the limit. We're pretty much at 58 or 5,800. So from heel to toe, it's very, very stable.
Right, and I think that's something that's huge for you guys to know your misses, understand where you need stability, because the person who has a very centered strike but moves up and down, and then the person who moves across the face need different things. And that's where I think I love this. We've been saying it, like the 10K story, I can't wait for it to evolve. This is the evolution. I was kind of had a little smile on my face when we're hearing about it, because this is what I was excited about to hear what people are going to do with this 10,000 MOI and how it can be moved forward. And I'm absolutely loving hearing this. So a player who strikes it in the toe, strikes in the heel, the stability and sort of ball speed retention is going to be much, much higher.
Yeah, we should see much less gear effect. We're predicting the Max K to be like about 45% of our total driver sales. We're expecting to see better players that maybe would shy away from Max Part before. Look at the Max K as a product that we can get it in the right launch and spin window, but they still need a bit of forgiveness, a little bit of help.
Right, I love that. Let's get hitting some balls, guys. Let's start our way down at the Max D and then work our way into the KX and LS.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, Fraz, Max D with your gamer shaft, Ventus Blue.
Lovely.
Thoughts how to dress?
For a draw bias driver, it doesn't sit hooked. It doesn't have that kind of look to it at all. Probably from a visual standpoint, it looks more like maybe some people would expect the X to look like.
Right, okay.
So really, really, really neutral, but obviously with kind of the internal weighting system, we know, I mean, I hit a couple warming up there and it's going to have no issue going left, that's for sure. So no, I don't think you're going to find anyone opposed to the shape of it. Yeah, I really, really like it.
Cool.
It's excellent.
Strike.
Turn over a bit.
Doing what it's designed to do.
Yep, absolutely.
As advertised.
12.5 launch. A little lower strike.
A little low strike, but 29 out of a low strike is in a good spot. That's the one you're going to get away with murder.
Started up the right side, which probably felt like it was going to stay out right.
I just thought I was going to miss it.
Comes way back. Good. Sounds good too.
I move the strike up the head a little bit.
What'll be interesting to see is how the dynamic lie changes across these four heads. So with this one, you can kind of been floating around 11 degrees toe up. So this one is the most upright. This is 61 degrees in standard. We get down all the way down to the LS, we're going to be at 57.
That's a huge change and something in the bay that I love to see. I'm probably normally about five or six normally. So to see that we've got that capability of going another 6 more up, and this is neutral lie angle, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah.
Did we get there? That was good, wasn't it?
Better strike, yeah. Spins better.
I mean, I feel like that was pretty good, to be honest. I didn't feel like that was that bad, but it really has some right to left in it. I'd love to see when we get into, later on, when we get into more neutral drivers, like I feel like that would be like 15 yards left, where that's a real enhancement. Like you guys said in the tech meeting, this is the most draw bias driver you've made in some time, if not ever.
For the player that truly needs draw bias, the guy that's not taking lessons, not practicing, that's his swing. It's going to fit him really well.
Totally. Okay, one more.
Definitely wants to go left.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, guys, so we've got the DS-ADAPT X model. Something probably last year you would have probably done the bulk of the Cobra driver sales with.
Yeah, the X kind of fits most people, right? It's the best balance between speed and forgiveness. Players that put the LS down, they're a little turned off by the size, a little small. This is a little more friendly profile, still very neutral profile. And with that weight forward, we see ball speeds just as fast as the LS. And on the vice versa, you pull the weight back, add a little more spin, it can fit the player that needs a little more spin and forgiveness. So it's somewhere right in the middle where most golfers tend to kind of land.
Between certainly the two we've seen so far, one of the things that is noticeable is you can now see the seams on the driver. There's got some noticeable lines. I think one of the things, like you loved last year's driver look, it was very clean, there's nothing really going on top. But there is a little bit more benefit to that in this design, isn't there?
Yeah, one thing with last year being so dark and having no kind of line where the carbon came to the crown, a lot of people have a hard time aiming the driver. One thing we haven't talked about either is the new laser etching on the face.
Yeah.
So last year with the face being dark and a dark crown, some people have a hard time seeing the face. Now with that updated laser etching on the face and that line where the carbon ends, helps people see where the face is and where they're aiming.
Giving that impression of some loft as well when it's not dark on dark.
Exactly.
That's a little different part of the
different.
head. We'll get the launch up and spin down a bit there.
What was the spin on that?
2,000, but when you see how high in the head it was, yeah, to move 4 mil high, that's pretty good
launch.
going.
Speeds up a little bit too. You know, ball speed 158. You were kind of 156 with that D.
Nice to see dynamic loft, kind of better window. Again, we're playing these at the same loft, so it just shows obviously the properties of having. So with this one, we've got it set up for me, which would be weight forward. With the other one having obviously heel weight, but also rear weight, changes the loft.
Decent strike.
Felt okay.
Definitely not as left as that Max D. right
That's
away.
a huge difference, isn't it?
And we look at the dynamic lie angle again. So we're playing these just at, we haven't touched the lie angle yet,
Yeah.
right? So you were, hovering around 10 or 11 dynamically up with the D. Now we're at 6 degrees up with this being in the neutral lie angle setting.
Yeah. Thoughts on the sound? Initial impressions?
More muted, I think, than last year. Again, I really like the core model, the X of Dark Speed. So definitely more muted. In here anyways.
I always say too, if it passes the sound test indoors, it's gonna sound good outdoors.
Yeah, it sounds solid for sure.
And I've hit that right out the toe. Look how stable that is.
So good. Protection on it.
Yeah, spin didn't drop.
Spin went up slightly certainly from the first one.
And it was one of your higher ball speeds,
Yeah.
up to 160 there.
I wouldn't be too picky about
Yeah,
that
that was
one.
actually quite good.
Yeah, no,
It's
that
just
wasn't.
I'm just gonna say that was your highest ball speed.
yeah,
A little low in the face.
Yeah, that was all.
looked like it came out super low.
So still got a little bit of right to left on it, as we would expect, right? So we're kind of, moving it over a little bit, but launch and spin window now. I think we're in a really nice spot.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see when we hit the LS now how the ball speeds compare when the X with the weight forward to the LS. What do you think of shape-wise and address of the
Like it.
X versus the Max D?
I mean, honestly, it wasn't that big of a transition, to be honest.
I mean, that's a good thing. I mean,
I totally think so.
Yeah.
Because you've got two very different drivers from a performance standpoint, yet
Visually, they were kinda
visually they're
similar.
good, which is for the people who need the draw, that's a great thing.
Sound like a good strike.
Yeah, felt nice.
that's your longest one of the day there.
Okay, so LS model, honestly, Andrew, like the one I'd be drawn to, no doubt about it. I think the X shape's nice, but like I've always been more drawn to this style of driver. Right now we've got it set 2 3s back and heel, 10 in the toe, which is exactly how, if I'm going to miss it a little bit toe side, that's really going to support that. Tell us about the evolution of the LS to the...
Yeah, so last year in Dark Speed LS, it was a very aggressive aerodynamic shape. This head's still very aerodynamic, a little more traditional shape. So not as triangular, pointy in the back of the driver. You'll notice it in the heel, it kind of drops off a lot more. A little more compact size as well, 445cc. For that player looking for that traditional shape, it's going to be the most open in face angles, the flattest in lie angles. And for you, your misses left, this is the most fade bias of all 4 heads.
Yeah.
And we have it in the most fade bias setting of all 4 heads.
And I think we've had some great conversations here today with the FIT team, with the R&D team, and everyone who's involved in. One of the things that came up again in sort of conversation is obviously the high MOI stuff. And like I still know for me that if you give me a driver with the right characteristics, which is more right side bias and these types of things, that to me is more forgiving than something when you raise the MOI, is because it has the characteristics I need. And it has all the horsepower and stuff. It's just, this just looks like a driver I could drop it in game, no problem.
Yeah, one of the things you're gonna hear us talking about a lot next year is the fastest, most fittable drivers. We've seen in testing, to your point, you get a player. So now we have 4 heads, we have 7 CG locations, and we have 33 loft and lie settings. When you get someone dialed in where they don't fear their miss, they can swing at it. And we've seen club head speed pick up because of that.
I honestly think that's me. I think I swing with a handbrake on until I start to see what I need to see, and then all of a sudden it unlocks the performance. That's a really good point. All right, let's see it. This from LTDX from there was a black version, an all black version.
Yes.
This really reminded me. I stuck
We
that
both
down
had
there.
that driver.
I love it. Still got it.
It's funny you say that year when we released that all blackout one, everyone loved it. So, last year with dark speed and this, we've just gone with the all blackout as our
Makes sense.
standard.
I feel like that would have just been offline with one of the previous ones, especially left. That was
Just stays up that right side.
Really nice.
Yeah, for a little low in the face, but still fast.
Totally.
Still 160 plus ball speed.
Right.
It's coming back.
Like, if I was in the fit, I would say this feels more stable than anything I've hit so far.
Interesting. And just watching you swing, actually, you look more free or comfortable.
Totally.
I think this sounds the best out of the bunch.
I do as well.
It's funny, this one wants to stay right versus like
I love it. It actually feels great. But it's right without being I get a right one that I hate, which is like a stuck Healy block cut.
Like that kind of one, you probably don't hate that one. That still has spin on it, just starts right.
And it's hit, isn't it? Like it's still.
We were outside yesterday and there was a couple that went right to right. And you can see your facial expression. You're like, you got to be kidding me. But that there is.
It's different.
Totally different.
So some great misses in it, this thing.
So you're expecting that to be a lot worse than
I know.
what it really did.
In the least forgiving head.
No kidding. I mean, your low strikes, you're not really, I know they're ones you don't want to see, but you're not really sacrificing anything.
No.
Okay, Fraz, DS-ADAPT Max K.
We've left, not in the sequence of the lineup as this one should be hit last, but I wanted to give this one the best chance to kind of succeed. 9 degree with the full adjustability from a loft, obviously crazy sort of lie angle adjustment, but we can bring the loft down to 7 if we need to. Dynamic loft is generally my nemesis when it comes to these drivers. This doesn't have, some drivers have as much as 28 grams in the back. This is 10. So it is in that position, but it doesn't have all that sort of, that rearward weight in the way that the other ones do.
Yeah.
It's distributed potentially slightly differently. So yeah, let's chat a little bit about that. Why would this one be different from, again, back to, is it to do with that sort of toe to heel?
Yeah, so the other drivers, they're talking more of the MOI this way. You need more weight in the back.
Yeah.
Whereas this, we're talking a little bit more this way, right? So we don't need as much in the rear.
Maybe what I need.
Let's see.
Maybe what you need.
So far, you've probably got 3 new drivers.
Sounded good.
Yep,
Rushed.
felt solid.
Greatest drive of the day. What do you think so far? Initial first looks at a dress.
I love it. Best looking 10K by far.
Just going to ask you, we used the term yesterday, pancake. This doesn't...
No, it's not a pancake.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely not a pancake. Again, I go back to, bulge and roll properties. It looks quite flat, so it doesn't look massive.
That's good.
Like one of the companies two of the companies actually I can think of last year looked massive.
Too big.
One looked kind of proportionate for what it is. And I guess there was another one we tested fairly recently. It looked okay, but it spun a lot.
Yeah.
This doesn't have any of that.
Yeah, one thing I really like about this one, and you probably will too, in the past, a lot of Max product was always upright, close base. This is very neutral. So better players that are looking for spin or just forgiveness, it's not a left bias driver. It's just a forgiving driver.
Yeah, when I see that lie angle, actually, that's the flattest we've seen it so far. And as quick as anything we've seen so far. I mean,
that's the thing, too, I've noticed, like, in testing with this Max K, I've seen people as high as 180 ball speed to the slower end, but we've been able to fit it to everybody. It's by no means slow.
Sounded good.
Yeah, at first, when you hit that looked like it was going to go more left, and it kind of held its line, right?
Super stable.
Spin didn't drop.
26.
Still fast, though. Still 160 ball.
Yep.
I like that we're not seeing like the 3000s out of it.
Let's knock it down. Let's go right down in loft.
Okay.
I'd be curious to see if taking that down changes anything.
Not a different sound.
Different, so that's come out 2200.
Gonna run.
I'll give you a decent strike at the launch up a little bit.
And I'm sure you'd rather that one than the low left one, right? That still has some
Definitely.
spin on it.
100%. Let's have a look at the comparison.
2400 out of that's pretty.
I know.
He strikes relatively all in the same area.
Yeah. Which is a testament to the forgiveness, really, isn't it? Because
Totally.
I mean, the strikes are low. There's no, I can feel that.
You look at direction though, the Max K, like it's supposed
No.
to. It was the straightest. It was the most neutral, right?
Definitely. Yeah, obviously, I think LS for me, it fits my sort of swing type.
Yeah.
But K, if you know, if you're looking just to kind of have the forgiveness package, just to say, listen, I'll just take it. What are you actually giving up? There's nothing. There's nothing really there.
Yeah, I mean, LS was a little more right bias as it was supposed to be, but it's not like it's 5 miles an hour slower and super spinny, right? And your strikes were mostly low in the face. We didn't see any really toe or heel, so that's where, again, we probably see some benefit. People that missed it really toe or heel could benefit even more from it.
Let's see if we can try and see one of those. I think that's going to be worth trying to get something, certainly toe side for me. Slightly toey. More than that low toe.
Consistently straight though, this driver.
Yeah. It just feels really neutral.
Yeah, it's good.
Super neutral. I tried to give you that's kind of the same height as the last one, but toey.
Yes, I mean,
Very
drew a little bit,
nice.
but it didn't go super left, right?
Not one of those shots that you fit with the K, you would say you're upset with. They're all just in play.
I always say I want a driver that my playing partners never know if I mishit it. They just look out and see the flight and they go, nice shot.
Yeah.
I'll know it and you feel it, but and that's a perfect example. 12 millimeters in the toe.
Totally.
And it's behaved incredibly well.
Yeah. One thing I've noticed with this driver as well is the spin rates are very consistent across the fates, right? You haven't seen any really high spins, any real low spins.
That's a really impressive driver.
That's good.
Really, really is. Okay, boys, some good stuff.
Impressive drivers for 25.
Yep. The biggest compliment I could pay all 4 models is they do exactly what they're supposed to. They do their job.
Exactly.
There's a football pundit back in the UK called Roy Keane. If you remember Keano.
I'm a big Manchester United fan, so.
Keano's line is, just do your job. And that's what those 4 drivers do. So I love it. Absolutely love it. I think we're going to dive in now more and explore the loft sleeve. There we kind of, you just position, you know my game well enough and you position it where I need it. And I think that reflected, to be honest, in the performance.
Yeah, we wanted to showcase all 4 heads at around the same loft, just so we could show the difference, right? Pretty quickly we saw how much left the Max D wanted to go. The LS was the most right as expected, and the K was right in the middle like it was supposed to be.
Absolutely. I loved the LS. I really did. It just felt like such a natural fit for my delivery. The K felt so versatile that it can get away with murder with it. And certainly for someone like me that can get a little bit spinny on that strike, you can play with the loft a little bit in order to sort of manage it. I think for somebody who's struggling a little bit with strike, like I have been for a little bit, keeping that ball coming out quite flat, don't expose it to too much. I always feel pretty good if it's coming out, forward flying, and that's what that felt like to me. So I love it. Guys, something really special in here. There's a probably one, you'll see it in our faces, you'll hear it in our voices. When we go somewhere every year, we get a little bit more excited for you guys ultimately. That there's a line of products out there that will do something a little bit different and unlock some capabilities that maybe we've been missing within a demo matrix, which for a company that's brand agnostic and has a drawer when we open it that's got 50 heads in it, I mean, that's saying something. That there's new things in there. There's sort of new solutions to the problems that you guys have. So we are super excited about this one. We think that there's really going to be some needle movers in there for a lot of golfers. Good stuff. All right, lots more to come here from Cobra HQ in Carlsbad. Stay tuned for more, and we'll see you again soon.